Hi folks, Mark here with Connect Wealth for another Money Minute. And for today's conversation, I've brought in a couple of props in order to talk about the 3 Ds of money management for young people. We've all heard of the commercial with a particular candy where they were asking you to eat the red ones last. Today's conversation is a systematized process of savings in order to ensure that you are dedicating your money first and eating the red ones first. To amplify this, I've done 2 things. I've created 2 bowls of different product. One noticing that we are just filled with the red ones, the second one here being the colored. So let's start with the first one, that's dedicated money. We all get paid on the 1st and the 15th of each month. To visualize what that could look like for you, I'm going to ask that you get your first paycheck and you make the conscious decision to earmark 20% of that first paycheck into this bucket here, and we put the remaining 80 aside for yourself in order to live off of, in order to dedicate towards shopping and all the necessities of life. Following pay period comes up, again, you take your money, you systematically remove the red ones in this particular case, and you continue to save the 80 for life beyond that. We call this process dedicated money, paying yourself first, earmarking money on a very intentional basis for your future. And frankly, it really makes no difference what this money is intended for. Just set it aside, because you will notice in your early years, your needs, your desires on that dedicated money may change. It may be for college education. It may be for you to earmark towards your first home. It may be for that dream vacation. As long as you're setting aside and systematizing your process, you're well underway. Now that we've set aside our dedicated money, let's talk about developing that dedicated money. Inside this bucket here, you will notice that there are no spillages, there's no holes in the bucket, and that is a good representation of what happens with some of our investments when we're talking about taxation. Here everything is kept inside, neat, no mess on the floor. Our investments work in the same way. We want to take that dedicated money, we want to develop it in a vehicle that enables it to grow without the spillage and the mess. That could be in a tax-free savings account, it could be in an RESP for your college education, it could also be in an RRSP, or in a FHSA should you be the one looking to put your money as a first-time home buyer. If you're looking for a long-term horizon strategy for your money to grow without the taxation spilling out on the floor, it's normally an equity portfolio that you're choosing. Over the long run, you could end up between 6 to 10% compounded consistently. As Albert Einstein said, it's the 8th wonder of the world. Take full advantage of that compounding while you're busy living off of this one here. Let's give you a quick example of what we're talking about to make it a little easier. Imagine 2 buddies that are 20 years old, both making the decision that they want to save utilizing their red dedicated money. Buddy number 1 gets on the program immediately and decides to set aside on the 1st and the 15th of every month $291 of his paycheck to put towards the red bowl of savings, dedicating that money to a long-term growth vehicle without any taxation, growing at 8%. Does this for a period of 10 years, stops at age 30. Second buddy makes the decision from ages 20 to 30 to put his money into other things, to play, to travel, to do whatever, then decides to get on the program from age 30 all the way to age 65, earmarking that same $291 every paycheck, the 1st and the 15th. Still growing at 8%, still not having any taxation. Both guys at the age of 65 sit down together and share their findings. Second buddy says, you know, I've done really well and I'm really proud of myself. I have just north of $1 million worth of total savings. First guy says, that's great, me too, except I only needed 10 years in order to achieve the same result by virtue of compounding. Both guys should be commended for their exercise, but if you want the money and those small itty-bitty deposits to snowball over time, it's best that you get on the program early. The third D that we're going to mention today is equally important to the other 2, and that is dumb debt. Your average credit card statement will have an attachment of 19% or greater of compounded interest on any outstanding debt that is not covered inside an entire monthly billing. Oftentimes, we choose as consumers to pay the lower committed amount. What we fail to realize is that anything that you've left on that first bill gets compounded at 19%, which is at least 4 times what you normally get on the savings side of the equation with that same compound interest working against you. So what happens as time goes on is if you're only paying those minimum payments on items that we purchase with our card, over time you end up getting a snowball of debt taking place. In order to get out of the debt, you end up having to utilize the savings that you've already earmarked to pay down the credit card, and now you got to start the whole process all over again in order to vindicate yourself. So we could have lost all of the compounding, and we begin the process of taking a little bit of money aside here and putting it away for our savings, and we've completely lost out on that value of compounding that works in your favor. If you'd like to talk more about the 3 Ds with us, we'd love to see you here at Connect Wealth. Thanks and bye for now.